Any platform that can help you collect the money that is rightfully yours and to capitalize on the intellectual property that is yours, that is a good thing. Hey, my name is Jake Fine. I feel like in the small Jewish community that I grew up in, my family was known as being very musical. But I feel like it was much later that the element of what it meant to be a professional musician even entered the picture. So initially it was just watching my dad play guitar, watching my mom sing. My sisters love theater. My dad grew up writing a lot of wonderful songs and is a wonderful guitar player, but never pursued it professionally. And so I feel like there was this opening for like someone within the family to express themselves to the fullest musically. And because I had developed that deep passion for music, especially through classic rock, when I became a teenager, it became a more serious part of my internal identity. So I feel like it began as part of the family identity, the nuclear family identity, and the cultural identity. But I think the crucial moment is when it became part of my personal identity. Like, oh, I'm a creator, I'm a musician within this, relatively small community, and what that meant for me. I then went from a small Jewish school that had 100 people to the public school in town, which had like 1,600 people, I think, or 2,000, in order to join the jazz program there. Absolutely overwhelmed by the jazz program. Didn't know how to play jazz, was yelled at by the jazz instructors. But I think those steps in terms of, okay, I had assimilated it into part of my personal identity. And then those were the baby steps of, okay, but what does that mean in terms of what I do and how I navigate the world? Then Berklee College of Music from ages 17 to 21. I got in early bird and I never wanted a formal education, but the fact that there was a path to follow, it felt like I would be passing up an opportunity not to, right? So, and then talk about kind of going from a smaller community into a larger community. Each step in that microcosm just became a more like an in over my head kind of feeling within the context of those creative communities, right? I'm now at a music college full of a lot of skilled people. What's my role within that? How far do I want to delve into each aspects of the craft, right? That element of questioning actually, it stayed well through Berklee and even well beyond Berklee. Just that existential question of, okay, within this community, what are the things I want to do to create, and how do I, and what appeals to me and fulfills me within that, in a way that doesn't overwhelm me or feel calculated, but feels organic to my identity. So if you listen to my azayaka catalog with the lo-fi stuff, you find melodies that you can hum to yourself. And it's lo-fi, and some people might want to call it like background music in some sort of way, but there's musical intention behind it, and I try to retain that. I feel like if you look at a catalog of instrumental music like that, which is probably over 150 songs now that I've released, right? You could imagine that I've gotten profoundly bored, right? With that many songs. And I think that what's at the top of my mind is being perceived with any production as retaining a high level of musicality, but also being intentional about it, right? So giving it what the song needs, and I think that's where a lot of the enjoyment comes in, making songs that last. So I don't know if I can give you any certain genre words, because there's a large variety, and you get pushed in LA to make a whole, just a massive range. Even within lo-fi, I feel like there's subtle ranges with jazz hop, chill hop, sad beats and sleepy beats, and hopefully whichever one of those I'm making, it still has an essence of that musicality and that emotional thread. in a way, I find I reference older songs of mine. That's something that I've had a lot of fun doing, is maybe in the first 30 songs I made, I had less skill, but my musical sensibility was still there. So I really like listening to those and being, what was I doing in a beginner mindset that I can achieve better now? I'll take a song from like 2 years ago, like one called Sun Dappled, and I'll hear the instrumentation and the feel and the tempo, but I'm like, oh, I can do that like 15% better now. Not like even 100%, but I can do that 15%. I even name them similar things sometimes. I think of it as a sequel, right? Oh, I can achieve that just a little bit better, but with the similar textures. So I'm kind of like rinsing that. It's almost a circular process now, because your whole project could just be jazzy chill hop beats. Maybe I made one a year ago. I didn't achieve the drums the way I want, but I think I could now. So just kind of revisit that and, ask me in another year. We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of this. I feel like we have to be so prolific in the instrumental music scene that I wouldn't be surprised if there's plenty of people that are feeling like it's contrived, or it's a business thing now, or they've set up releases a year ahead and they're just chilling now. As long as I can draw inspiration, I will. And there's plenty of artists out there to draw inspiration from in the scene still. So, hopefully that keeps it fresh. Ask me in 2 years. I'll be making lo-fi for like 6-7 years at that point. Who knows? Maybe I'll try to like integrate more electronic sound design at that point, because I'll feel like I need something fresh. I don't know. Creative process in the studio. I feel like it largely varies depending on if you're doing something with an artist. For me, that's a service. You're there to serve the music that they want to create, right? And especially if there's a writer involved, right? So in summary, that creative process is talk about life. And then the writer's job and my job is to try to kind of milk out the emotional context there, and try to understand what they want to create and what they want to say. And then often my job as someone who in that setting is maybe more skilled on certain instruments is I grab an instrument, I offer up certain chord progressions, certain moods. And a lot of that it's done with spontaneity, but to be honest, the truth is it's not really, right? I've done research. I know what they've created. I've listened to their catalog. I've maybe even thought of a few chord progressions, but then sometimes you'll be really surprised. On paper, there'll be an R&B artist, but then in reality, they love Mitski, I don't know, whatever it is. And then you're like, oh, now I'm trying to create this heavier indie world, right? And so there is that level of spontaneity, but there's also a certain level of research. And for me, it always starts on an instrument, because I think you should put your best foot forward. So if you're skilled with sound design or drums, you're probably going to begin with that. So I always just begin with picking up a guitar. And I think that's just the way in. Find a chord progression everyone feels passionate about, move forward. So with lo-fi, it's a little bit different because there's less surprises. I know that whole ecosystem. I know today I want to make something more jazz hoppy. It's going to be closer to, maybe in the 80 something BPM range. I know the genre. I know what I want to create. I know which drums I want to grab now. That is more akin to just some easy sort of flow state. If I've made 150 plus songs, like I said, I pretty much know what I want out of it. I know what the Azayaka and the Tonbo, those are the two lo-fi projects, I know what I want out of them. I know what their sound is, and I know what I want the sound to be. So that is really a quick, cohesive vision. It's my project. It's most of the songs I release independently, and a lot of the songs I don't even have collaborators now. So I have a pretty cohesive vision of what that is. Make a chord progression that I love on a felt piano or on a guitar I love, put the layers in, get the drums going. It doesn't take too long now, but that's of course after 200 reps. But yeah. My relationship with Downtown is mainly through the distribution arm. Like I said before, I release a ton of my instrumental music independently, and I really needed a bespoke service. Like I want to send in Atmos mixes and have them connected to the correct ISRC. I need all that to be like done right because I don't want to do it twice. Like I said, having a bespoke service with that many songs releasing, it's every week, every 2 weeks, it's like I need the Atmos connected. I need to make sure royalties are being collected properly, that the statements are coming in right, that the money's coming in right. And I feel like the Downtown team has offered that and made it easy for me. I say that with total honesty. Like I've got my system going and it works well, and part of that has been Downtown just giving me a good platform for releasing songs consistently. And when something goes wrong or something needs to be replaced or that shaker's too loud, like the ability to replace the master and then update the publishing to different DSPs, like really, really necessary. It's just really necessary. If we're directing things towards people just beginning their journey as a songwriter, producer, whatever, any platform that can help you collect the money that is rightfully yours and to capitalize on the intellectual property that is yours, that is a good thing. Any platform that also helps you split money in a fair way without too much logistic complication, that's a positive thing. So Downtown has checked those boxes for me. Like I said, that's total honesty. It's part of my system as a producer creator with multiple artist projects. So yeah, that's what I use Downtown for. And then also just stuff like this, which is, whether it's Rod, Brandon, Nick Wolf, there's people I talk to. There's, an element of community that's there when I need it to, and people I can chat with, call when I need something. And I feel like, especially in the instrumental world, that's something that'll be easily forgot about, but they forget, that has its own share of the market, and those people need someone to talk to release things, or do a waterfall release strategy and have the ISRCs connected correctly, whatever it is, or do their Atmos that is releasing every 2 weeks onto their, Apple profiles. So that's been great for me. I want to make music as an artist myself that I feel really proud of. And I feel like I said before, it's not me making a Charlie Puth song because I feel like I can or I should. It's more about me finding what my sound is, and as an artist expressing that, and hopefully having some people listening and knowing that when I release that, people would listen. As a producer, there's multiple layers, There's a certain level of success that I do want to achieve. I feel I've had to make space for that ambition, But that's fun too. When you can circle back to allowing yourself to be hungry to achieve something, I think it feels really good. It's a very natural hunger. So there's a lot I want to achieve as a producer, and then a ton as a creator. Every day is a step on the journey, but I want my name to be synonymous with a high level of quality. And the things that journey entails it's just so multifaceted because it's such a hard craft to master. But like I said, I'm making space for wanting that. I don't think it's wrong to want yourself to achieve a certain level of quality in your work, and to want there to be a certain level of success attached to that, after putting 10,000 hours in. I think I view that as a positive thing. So hopefully in the years to come, I find myself further down that road, and with consistency, I hope that that's not a foregone conclusion, but I hope that with, good work ethic, those things come.